Thanks, Rob. Good afternoon, everyone. I will take you on our journey to implementing on-demand transport pilots in New South Wales. I will talk about the reasons why, the market engagement process, and where on-demand fits in New South Wales public transport. We have all seen and experienced the advancements in technology, data availability, digital and smartphone applications, the emergence of new entrants and disruptors such as Uber, Bridg and Lyft, some more successful than others. In New South Wales, we are experiencing population growth. However, with it comes increased congestion and more crowding on large parts of our public transport network. Simply doing what we've been doing over the last 10 years, tweaking and improving our service contracts, by adopting perceived industry best practice simply isn't good enough. It will not deliver a fundamentally better transport system. We know the current model in New South Wales is not sustainable, and we felt that without a significant step change, elements of the bus industry would be at risk from these disruptors. Our financially viable services would be targeted, hence increasing our cost of service. Inconsistencies would be created within our networks, thus adversely impacting customer satisfaction. Our trunk services for all modes of transport are quite effective, but they can be improved to provide increased frequency and streamlined to produce reduced journey times. Feeder services to and from these trunk services, often referred to as the first mile and the last mile, don't perform as well. They are not well utilised, they take too long to get you to your destination, as they travel a windy, circuitous route to harvest passengers. Some services, such as the one shown here, try to do both, that is, act as a feeder and a trunk service, taking over 5 times the journey time to harvest passengers and comply with policies of providing services within 400 metres of every household. Our challenge is to primarily enhance our feeder services and make them attractive enough to influence migration from the private vehicle. By doing this, we would also work on streamlining and increasing the frequency of our trunk services. We knew others around the world and in other jurisdictions were playing in the on-demand space. However, we struggled to find any real success stories. From what we know, most jurisdictions have either been overly prescriptive in their procurement process, thus restricting innovation, trialled only one type of technology and mode of transport, or relied on the proposed services to be commercial. We decided to take the problem to the market and ask them to come up with an end-to-end solution. We agreed to trial around a dozen pilots. We wanted them to be different. We knew some would be more successful than others, but the main game for us was to learn. We intentionally avoided prescribing solutions. It was very hard for my staff to do that, but we just took the problem out to the market. We gave the market free rein to innovate, collaborate, and form amalgamations to help us solve our problem. The on-demand transport program was launched in November 16, and the request for expressions of innovation was released on the 5th of December. We didn't stuff around. The request for expression of innovation document was short and simple. We asked the market to come up with creative new ways for people to reach their destinations quickly, safely, easily, efficiently, and at a time that suits them. The document was only 15 pages long, easy to read, and was designed not to scare anyone away. We would work through any issues with the proponents. From this, we received 66 proposals from 43 proponents. We were happy with that. Our objectives are to pilot different transport modes and learn, understanding how different forms of technology could improve public transport, improving the customer experience and understanding their responses and behaviours, delivering on our commitment to provide a more attractive and personalised public transport. You will notice there is nothing here about intellectual property, compliance, costs, regulation. Our intention was to encourage innovation and solutions and work through any issues before implementation. The outcomes of these pilots will fundamentally change transport networks and the way we deliver transport services in the future. In terms of the process, we stated from the outset that the request for expression of innovation would be conducted in a markedly different manner. If industry was going to be brave and develop innovative solutions, we had to show leadership and show them that we were willing to take a risk. We developed an outcomes-focused strategy. We opened up the market. You did not need to be an accredited operator to get involved. We identified methods of motivating the market to innovate. We set clear goals. We set a very tight but achievable timeframe. And we wanted to develop strong partnerships with the industry. There were no templates and no precedents. We cut bureaucracy without cutting integrity to enable innovation. In terms of the industry engagement, we also made it clear early that we wanted to be committed to doing things differently. So we facilitated interactive sessions and collaboration events. A team was on call to answer questions and assist proponents, and this was done during the 16-17 Christmas New Year period. We also facilitated mergers with proponents. In other words, if a bus operator had part of a solution and they needed a smartphone app developer, then we facilitated that connection. We wanted to give proponents the best chance of developing a high-quality proposal, focus on end-to-end solutions that could be deployed quickly. So, where does on-demand fit in New South Wales public transport network? When we commenced this journey, some thought on-demand would achieve financial sustainability. Others thought on-demand would provide premium services that generated profit. We see it providing improved and convenient services to customers, introducing options and alternatives, achieving improved value for money for both the customer and government, therefore achieving more efficient public transport that reduces the government subsidy, and for us that sits at around 75% of the cost of service. The ultimate aim really is to get people out of the cars and into public transport. Already on-demand is playing a big role in some of our more recent contracts, and we see the outcomes of the trial reshaping the next generation of bus contracts.
Do you wish your local public transport hub...
We can start that.
Do you wish your local public transport hub or bus stop was closer to you? Stressed out about finding a parking space? Relax, new on-demand transport comes to you. It is a quick, easy and direct way to connect you with your destination or nearest public transport hub. Book a service online, through an app or over the phone at a time and place that suits you. And travel with a New South Wales government transport partner. When you need it, without a timetable. On-demand transport, ready when you are. Now trialling in select areas. For more info, visit transportnsw.info.
I didn't get to introduce that, but that is a short animated video that demonstrates how some on-demand services would work. The diversity of our proposals is important to ensure a range of solutions are piloted. The pilots vary in terms of technology, software, smartphone applications, geography, operating hours, and vehicle types. We are looking for a group of pilots that enable a number of different potential solutions to be assessed. Remember, the idea is for us to learn. A number of software solutions will be trialled with varying functionality and capability. Through the pilots, we will test route optimisation and dynamically allocated pick-up and drop-off points. We expect to learn a great amount about travel patterns and demand through the use of the apps and new technology. We trusted the market to develop innovative solutions. We implemented a fair pricing approach that is comparable to the existing Opal single-trip pricing. This was critical to ensure sufficient take-up by customers. We did not want to be influenced by the price elasticity of demand. These pilots are focused on getting them right, so we just wanted to focus purely on the pilots. What do we need to do to get the uptake within those pilots? So pricing shouldn't come into it. The last dot point there relates to the removal of passenger timetables, and I'll expand on that. Now remember the network map I showed you before, where a single service tried to be both a trunk and a feeder service. We think networks of the future could look more like this, and probably similar to what Matthew mentioned earlier. The dark red and purple represents the trunk services. These would be high frequency, high capacity headway services. The shaded areas would be serviced by on-demand or suburban high frequency services, with different vehicle types to suit. This approach should improve customer services and reduce overall journey times. No need for a passenger timetable here. How easy was that? We will try and squeeze as much information as possible out of these pilots. We have structured our contracts to be flexible enough to allow us to modify, relocate, expand and terminate the pilots. We need to work closely with our partners and be comfortable we are doing everything possible to understand the effectiveness of our pilots. An evaluation framework has been developed. It is based on a two-tiered approach, both at an individual pilot level and at a program level. This will inform us on the performance of the pilots and whether we need to intervene. It will allow us to determine which proposals work well in different areas and under different situations. Some of the challenges and issues relate to the lack of integration with our systems. Opal ticketing, transport planning, wayfinding, our contract management system, legislation, real-time apps, and our passenger information display screens. The pilot services are not Opal enabled, which means the cost to the passenger can't be translated to other fare incentives and on other modes. There will be separate software and booking apps for each of the pilots, which is not really ideal. And in relation to the software development, this is proving to be a challenge, and in several cases so far, operators and developers have been taken by surprise by the lead time required to have the apps fully functional. Further, some technology issues are being felt. The technology used is very new and very contemporary, so we're finding it difficult to get resources that know how to work with that technology. And obviously the changing passenger behaviour will be difficult. From a benefits perspective, we are already challenging conventional thinking within Transport for New South Wales. Achieving value for money, this always gets government interested. Opportunities to improve and streamline existing systems, development of tailored transport solutions, and smarter and more connected networks takes us closer to mobility as a service. It's opened our eyes to look into other areas of public transport. Shortly, we will be rolling out something similar in the rural and regional areas. There are exciting times and opportunities ahead for all of us. I encourage you to get on board. Thank you for your time.